we can address those. So welcome. We're really pleased that you have an interest in our program. What we are offering here is a kind of a unique program in the University of California in that it's basically an online master's program, which when we first set this up, there were only a couple in the system that were online. But our motivation in putting this program together was we realized that there are a lot of people out there who have graduated and are working, and they're working in the pharma industry or in a lab or whatever, and they, for various reasons, want to increase their knowledge of pharmacology. Sometimes we have students who are trying to strengthen their background, say they want to go to medical school or get a PhD, but they don't want to quit their job. We've had students that have been working 10 years, that come back to the program. So, and that's perfectly understandable. Why would you want to, quit your job, uproot your family, move to Irvine? Irvine's lovely, but, then it's, in 1 or 2 years, you have to go back to wherever you are. So we saw this online way of giving the program as an opportunity to reach out to people who are in those situations that need flexibility, that are working and want to advance their careers. And I think as a longtime advocate of University of California, I think that's one of the missions of the university, is to reach out to provide the educational needs. So let's talk about what this program is, and then we'll have questions. So what is the program basically? So we give an MS degree, Master's in Science, and it is equivalent to the same degree that if you were here. It's not anything, it doesn't say on it, online, program, whatever. It's just a Master's in Science in Pharmacology from UC Irvine. And we try to train you in concepts of pharmacology. And from there, you could be in an academic position, you could be in an industrial position, you could be at the FDA, say government position. So there's many ways to go with that, or you could go on to, say, a higher degree program. It's 2 years and it's part-time. So again, trying to think about somebody who's working, trying to not make it overburdensome. So it's a part-time program, and so it's spread over 2 years, and it's fall, winter, spring, and then summer off. So this, and you can be anywhere. We have some students, we have a student right now who's in China, and we have one who, I think she's still in Uzbekistan. And so, you can be there, you can take it from anywhere, as well as having time flexibility. Okay. Where does it go? Okay. So why pharmacology? Probably you already have some sense of why you're interested in it, but pharmacology is a very cool discipline, my own personal opinion. It's central to the discovery, development, and use of drugs and treatment and prevention of disease. It's very diverse. It's very interdisciplinary. It's very interesting, and it also is important for furthering health. So if you like to be on part of something that you think is going to help your fellow person, man, animal, whatever, that's also a reward that you get. Because the drugs, if you go to see a doctor and you have something wrong, more than likely they're going to give you a drug, right? So it's very much a mainstay in medicine, but it also has a very ancient tradition coming from herbs and other natural substances. So it's a very, very, very interesting history. And also, on one hand, we work in pharmacology to develop drugs, but on the other hand, we can use drugs if we know they have a specific target, and we can use them in research to try to probe and understand how that system might be involved in the physiology or in the disease process or whatever. So they're drugs as tools, as also as medicine. So what will be the benefit from the degree? You can get a good solid foundation in pharmacology, and also with the master's that can help advance your career. And as I said, there's many opportunities in industry, academia, and government. And also, maybe not commonly thought about, but if you were in scientific writing or marketing or something, this also would give you a good background to discuss drugs in that case. And as I said, you can also might help you move into another program. And we've had a number of our graduates go on to medical school. I think we've had one medical school. We have one just now got accepted last week, and pharmacy school and PhD students. So it's like a stepping stone. So what will we teach you? We're going to teach you fundamental principles of pharmacology, a dose response curve, anything that are the tools of pharmacology. And we're going to look at how drugs act at all levels, at the molecular level, at the cellular level, and also at the whole animal. We actually have a lot of expertise in our department on behavioral and neuropharmacology, which is not always you find people that know how to do that. So that's part of the whole animal approach. And then, of course, going on, this is preclinical and then going on to clinical. This program, the curriculum, we derived it from our PhD pharmacology program and our medical school pharmacology curriculum. So we also cover the drugs that are in current use. What are their mechanisms, side effects, that sort of thing. And most important to us is we want to give you tools to be a good researcher or be able to evaluate research. You may not be doing research, but you might be needing to evaluate, say, the results of something. We want to work on strategies, techniques, and critical thinking skills that you need to apply to drug research. We think that this is really foundational. And of course, we're online, so you're not in a lab. That's the only thing that's different from if you were on on campus in a program. But we feel that we can give you the tools that you can go in, and we do a lot of reading of the primary literature and discussing of it and talking about techniques and scientific, experimental design. We give you a lot of tools, even though you're not actually in a lab. Maybe you are in your work environment, and so that pairs nicely with what we teach. So again, it's 2 years, 6 quarters, and here is the current syllabus that we have. So each course, each quarter you have 2 courses. They're asynchronous, so you can do them whenever it's convenient for you. We kind of have a week schedule, so each week is a different topic. So you have that whole week to take the quiz, do the assignment, whatever is watch the videos, whatever is supposed to be on in that week. And then, so you have 2 of those. And then on the first quarter, we also have our only synchronous class where we try to get everybody to know each other, because you're in the same cohort for the 2 years. And we want you to feel connected. We don't want to feel like you're, flapping around out there in cyberspace somewhere, that you have a cohort, you have a community, you can interact with each other. So we do that one extra course. It's not a heavy duty course, but the goal is to get acquainted with everybody. So as you can see here, we have a neuropharm, we have cardiovascular pharm, we have principles, drug receptors, behavioral pharm, GI, endocrine, and then we go into research techniques and experimental design and ethics, and the culmination, besides the coursework, is in the winter quarter, second year, you write a master's capstone project, which is basically a 20-page research proposal on a topic of your interest. And we work towards that. Hopefully that is a culmination of everything that we've been doing in the program. We also have a couple interesting courses on concepts in drug discovery and special topics. And in one of those courses, we actually bring in a speaker every week from industry who's a leader in, Amgen, Merck, whatever. And they talk about some of their experiences, which is a really interesting course. So who are the faculty? Well, we're bona fide card-carrying pharmacologists, and we have a strong background in that. And we've all done a lot of active research. So people know about our work all over. And also interesting, we have some faculty who have actually patented things so that even though we're an academic lab, and we even have some that have founded their own companies or have worked in industry. So they are cognizant of that aspect of pharmacology, and they have close ties. And so, as I said, like one of the assets, we have invited guest speakers from a variety of top companies to come in and speak with our students, which is great. They like it and the students like it. So who should apply? Well, our core target has been working professionals who want to advance their career, want to get a stronger foundation in the work they're doing, or they want to maybe apply for a higher degree. So we target people in the industry, but it's open to anybody who thinks that this online format will work for them, who need flexibility or distance learning. You don't have to be in a pharma. You know, we have some students that have just graduated with their bachelor's. They're going to be graduating in June. So it's a very interesting and diverse cohort, different ages, different levels of experience, but everybody brings something to the mix, which is nice. So again, an online program, post-COVID, this is not so revolutionary. When we first started, it's like, oh, I don't know, online, but now everybody's online for something after we all went through COVID. But you have to be an independent driver. You have to be motivated, and you have to manage your skills. And so on purpose, we have made every course each week has the same structure for 2 years, pretty much, so that you can figure out, okay, on Monday, I'm going to do this, and, Friday, I'm going to do that. You can kind of work out a schedule. The first quarter, you have to kind of work on it, but you can kind of fall into a routine that I think will be help. Also communicate, and because you're out there, you have to communicate with us if you're having issues, because we don't know, we don't see you, and writing and reading skills, and have some basic understanding of how to turn your computer on and things like that. So what are the admissions requirements? You need to have a bachelor's. You need to have a GPA of 3.0 or better. The official transcripts, I don't think now you have to send them in initially, but if you get accepted, you'll have to get an official transcript. And we want you to have 2 years of work in biology and chemistry. I mean, everybody comes with different amounts of background, but you need some basic science. Otherwise, you'll just be diving into the deep end. We'd like you to have at least 1 year in a laboratory. It would be great if you have been in some kind of research environment, undergraduate research, employment, but even if it's just coursework, you have had some experience in the lab. You write a personal statement about why you're interested, why you think this is good for you. You get 3 letters of recommendation. And for foreign students, we require the TOEFL exam for English ability. We do not require GRE because, like I said, sometimes our students have been out of school for 10 years. And the idea of trying to go back and take a GRE exam, I think personally would be very kind of daunting. And we don't need that to see how well you'll be in the program. So your statement, it's an online application that you fill out. We see how well you can write and how you have good clarity of thought. A little bit about your background, your achievements, what's your laboratory experience, what are your goals, why you think this is going to help you achieve them, and that you feel like you are a good fit for this online modality. So currently the fees are $21,500 a year for 2 years, and you get billed every quarter of instruction, so fall, winter, spring. There's no other fees, but the structure is a bit different than if you look at what other UC students pay, because our program is unique in this way. Typically, master students are self-supported. There is you can apply for federal loans if you are, particularly if you're a U.S. citizen, and you can contact the UCI Financial Aid Office. They can help you with that. Now that our program has been going for a while, we have some additional funds, and we do offer some need-based scholarships from our our pocket, we ask that you write a statement about why you feel you really could use this assistance. Sometimes, especially if you're working for a company, they provide some tuition assistance as well, which is really nice. So just finally, I put up these two quotes from two of our graduates. So the first one is Madeline. She worked at Genentech the whole time she was in the program. And she says, the online structure has given me flexibility I need while working a full-time job and keeping work-life school balance. Found the professors to be more than accommodating when something comes up. We understand that you're trying to juggle stuff. So you just need to let us know and we'll try to work things out. And then also Dora, she's also been in industry for a number of years before she took the program. And she says, from my perspective, someone that has been in the industry for several years focused on the technical aspects of research, I consider this program a great stepping stone for advancing a career in research and other life science related disciplines. We have continually gotten good feedback from our students, and they have felt it to be a worthwhile endeavor. So the application, the one that's coming up is June 15th. That's for the fall, to start in the fall. And this is our contact information. I'm Diana Krause, and Amal, I'm going to let her speak to you as well. And then Dana Ornata, who is our graduate student affairs advisor. So I'm going to turn it over to Amal so she can say a few words, and then Dana, and then we'll open it up to questions that you may have. So, Amal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Krause. Well, I don't have a lot to add. I just want to say hi, everyone. And I want, what I wanted only to say that summarize what Dr. Krause said. So this program, like few words, it's flexible. So you can be wherever you want. You can do your assignments whenever you want within 1 week, but also it's although it is online, but indeed we are very close to our students. I mean, usually I respond within 1 hour or 2 hours, like maximum a few hours. And I can give you example. We had student who was here and then she left back to Nigeria, and like there's time difference. And one time she was taking the exam and it was like around 2 a.m. my time here. But then she said me, oh, I have problem with the internet or blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, quickly I sent her email, I comforted her and said, okay, we resolved the issue. So we are always there for students, although it is online. So it seems like, oh, as if like you are isolated, but indeed it might be indeed the opposite. Because another feedback from our students said, indeed, we are not only learning from the faculty, we are learning from each other. Because every week there is discussion forum. And students are bringing their own perspectives. So you can imagine like everyone is working in different company or in different fields. So they are bringing all these experiences. And we heard this many times. So we are learning from each other and we are learning from our faculty. I can also tell you one of the feedback that we always have is like students get promotion in their work by the end of the program. They get better offers within their company or from other companies. So we see the impact really of this program on the career and on the life of our students. So yeah, indeed, that's mainly what I want to say. But also there's one more keyword. It's like self-motivation. So our program is for non-traditional students. It's not like a gold spoon. I see some of that in the undergrad. No, here students are motivated, and we see that indeed, because you don't need to do the master if you are not very much motivated. So you are putting this money. Some students are taking loan. It's investment, and you are investing in for yourself. So that's why we feel like, yes, most of the students come with the desire to gain as much as possible, like knowledge, skills, and to feel that this is good investment for their career and for their life.
Okay, thank you. Dana, maybe you have a few words?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm here really to help answer any questions about the admissions process, the application, that whole thing. So as you're going through this process, if you're going to be working on an application and you have questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. The deadline actually is June 14th. I know
Oh,
it has been the 15th in past years. It's just the way that the calendar sits. So it's June 14th this year. And then also
here's
I
a
am
little secret, Dana. If somebody actually turned it in on 15th, we'd probably still take it, right?
yes, we probably would, but I'm just telling you the
Try not
official
to.
deadline. Yes, yes, yeah. Um, and then once students are admitted and officially in the program, then I'm really available to answer questions about university policies and procedures and help with paperwork kinds of things that students might need assistance with, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of my role.
Okay, so I have one question that I pulled up the chat, Dana. Um, from Dawish, is that how you say your name? I want to make sure I say it correctly. So she said she wanted to know about career outcomes. She has a bachelor in pharmacy from India, but she hasn't worked in the field for some time. Could the program help place her in the industry? I would say definitely yes. I mean, because we have these non-traditional students, we also find ourselves sometimes as a restart for
Mhm.
some people who have been going along and then circumstances have intervened and they got off track and they want to hop back on the track and whatever. So I definitely think that it is a way to again get you back on track for your career or your further degree programs or whatever. It gives you a lot of foundation, and I think it's a really an asset to your CV to have that master's. And the other thing is that we are very supportive of our students, and we're always happy to write recommendations and help you get where you need to be too. So I definitely think it would be helpful. How about anybody else? Is there any other questions from things that we've raised here? That might help you decide if this is a good fit for you or. Oh, the exam format, is it online, time sensitive, open book? Okay. So let me just take you through a typical week. As I said, it's each week is set up on a different topic under the course, and it pretty much follows the same format. We actually run our courses from Thursday to Wednesday because it's just has seemed like it's worked better for people working. They have weekend, they don't have weekend, they can, it's more flexible than everything due on Sunday night. So you have this one week, and when it starts, the first thing they usually do is you look at these videos. So the faculty have recorded lectures. They're shorter than, maybe 20 minutes, and there may be several of them. And then we have a little quiz that's kind of a self-graded quiz that you can actually take multiple times just to kind of check your knowledge. And then usually we have some kind of assignment. Pretty much often there's a reading from the literature. We're very big on getting you immersed in the literature, reading the literature, feeling confident in analyzing the literature. So there's usually some paper to read and maybe some little essay questions or some problem. And then there's the discussion forum, which there'll be a prompt and you're supposed to respond usually by Sunday or Monday, and then follow up with at least two people by the Wednesday. And so that's pretty much every week is like that. And then we have a midterm and a final. They're not cumulative, so the midterm is for the first half of the course and the final is for the second half of the course. They are usually we have you do it under this Respondus monitoring program just for the validity of everybody, taking the exam where we can't proctor them. And they're usually like 2 hours, and they're short answers, short essays, that kind of thing. Now it's not always that way. There's some classes where there might be a project instead of a final, or I mean, there's some flexibility, but typically there's 2 exams plus credit for all the work that you do every week. And you have all week. Once the finals week start, you have all 7 days to take the exam whenever you want. So I think that answers that. Is there such thing as office hours? I don't know that we normally set up office hours because of everybody's on different times, but we are available. If you want to set up a Zoom meeting or something like that, just let us know. I mean, communication is vital in this program. So, so often, somebody will contact me and say, well, I really want to discuss X. And so we'll find a time that works for the 2 of us, and then we'll set up a little Zoom. Or we can go back and forth on email, or, whatever. We're flexible. But we don't really set an office hour because everybody is on different timing. And we really try to be cognizant of that. So I said the only time we have a synchronous thing is that very first course where we have everybody come together live on Zoom so that we can get acquainted better. But after that, it's all asynchronous, and everybody, if you're in China and you're here, I can't set an office hour that I think will work. So you just have to let us know, let the faculty know, and we will set that up. How much of a difference does it make? Oh, in terms of admission, do you get more credit if you've been in a lab versus what you've taken in school? Not necessarily, no. I think that because we don't do lab in this program, we want you to have been in a lab experience, so you have some feeling for techniques and what a lab is like and what experiments like. But we realize that not everybody has had that opportunity. As I said, sometimes we have people, they've been in industry working in a lab 15 years, or maybe they've just graduated and they had, they were working all through school. They had limited ability to be in a lab. And we understand that we're very diverse, and it's okay. But we want to make sure you've had some exposure to the laboratory environment. And of course, the more you've had, I think it's just helpful. But we don't penalize you if you haven't had that opportunity, as long as you've had that. Does that make sense? Randy, you're the one that I think asked that question. Does that tell you?
Yeah, that helped. Thank you.
Yeah. How can we show
Before Diana, so yeah, it's just like here to emphasize that if we say 1 year, but it could be just like the labs that the coursework. We have, like, for example, give you example here in our program, the undergrad pharmaceutical program. So we have chemistry labs. In the first and second year, we have some biology labs. So those count indeed. Any lab experience you have will count. But if you don't have at all like lab experience during your school, but you have experience in industry, that also counts. So that's why it's very flexible. The definition of lab work is very flexible.
Yeah, I think that in your statement, just tell us about what your experience has been. So we basically want to make sure whoever we get in the program is going to be able to do the work and have enough background. Everybody has different background, but you got to have some basic background. So just tell us what you've done, that's fine. And we know it's variance. So how can we show our experience from work? I think just tell us what you're doing, in that statement. In the statement, it's really good to know where you're coming from and where you are. What have you been doing? What's interesting to you? Why do you want to do this? What have you done? Give us a picture of what your background is. And basically, you just want to make sure you're a good fit for the program. We don't want to take somebody who has never walked into a lab and had, one bio course in their life, and they might love pharmacology, but I don't think they're going to do well in the courses because they don't have the background. So that's basically what we're just trying to gauge, to make sure that you have the appropriate, have enough base to take the courses. So just tell us what you've been doing. I've been working in the lab on X, Y, and Z, and only a couple sentences. You don't have to go into a whole research paper, but okay, and the capstone.
I think, Diana, there was question about what advice would you have for applicants that may not have traditional GPA?
Why don't you take that one?
Okay, yeah. So usually, okay, so our evaluation of your application is holistic. So really, we look at everything you have been doing, okay? Well, some students might have not done very well during undergrad for whatever reasons, but then they did something okay, like extra, like they took extra courses, they have extra curriculum, or they worked in industry, or so we look at like it's a whole package for us, okay? So, and that's why, yes, we say the minimum GPA is 3, but sometimes we request exemption, and Dana would tell you more maybe about this, but we only give exemption if we see the application as a whole good, yeah? But if, okay, GPA is low, but there's nothing telling us that, yes, you will really perform well. I mean, GPA is one of the indicators that the students will do well, yes? But there are other indicators. That's why we look at all these indicators. So, but if all indicators are telling us, no, there's no chance. So we don't request exemption, yeah? So I'm just like telling you, that, well, don't worry. If you show us other things that, yes, telling us that, yes, you will be able to do well in the program. Because at the end, we want you to succeed. Yes, we don't want you to put this money and we know that, well, you're not going to do well. Yeah, so that's why help us assess those indicators and say, yes, they are able to do well.
Yeah, the 3.0 is actually a university requirement. It doesn't come from us per se, but we have the ability as the graduate committee to request an exception, and Dana helps with that. And so if we can justify why we think you're going to do well in the program, even though your GPA is a little bit below that, we've had a lot of success actually in getting exceptions, again, because a lot of times people have been working for a long time. Their grades, what they did 10 years ago in school, it really doesn't reflect where they are now. It isn't fair to like put it all on the GPA. Now, if they just graduated, maybe the GPA is the best thing we have as a guide. But don't let that deter you. If you think you're really interested and you think you can justify why you have the background, go ahead and apply, and if we agree with you, we will definitely go to bat for you for an exception on that.
And if you are in that boat, when you're putting together your application and you're working on your personal kind of history statement, that's where you want to address if you've got a GPA that's below a 3.0. You might talk about, if you had challenges in undergrad, what they were, and then, what's the situation now, and why do you think you're going to be successful in the program, at this point?
Yeah, and then we can use that to argue your case. So it helps us to get that. So the capstone. So the capstone may sound scary, but we try to make it not scary. And we try to build towards it the whole time. So all the things that you're taking and learning about techniques and analyzing papers and experimental design, those are all tools that will come together in the capstone. And the capstone is in the winter quarter, second year, but in the fall quarter of the second year, I actually teach a course called experimental design, and we kind of do a baby capstone in that. So we kind of work through the different way to address this proposal. But it's basically writing a research proposal. Of course, you're not going to do it because you're not in a lab. But what would you do if you were applying for a grant, if you're applying to maybe your superiors in your company, or you have an idea, and it has to be an original idea. It doesn't have to be, something that's never been heard of, but it should be have a unique twist to it. Can be in any area that you have an interest. So often if it's something you're working on, you might want to do it in that area. But the idea is you come up with an idea, you come up with a hypothesis, then you make 3 very specific sub-hypotheses, and then you design 3 experiments, each one for testing a hypothesis. And like I said, it's 20 pages, it's not long. And part of it is just going through the process of thinking it through. What is a good hypothesis? How would I test a hypothesis? What kind of techniques would I use from things I've read in the literature? But we will work on it. And then during the capstone, you have one faculty assigned that is assigned to you that will interact with you each week. And so what we do in the winter quarter is that's when we actually put the thing together. But 1 week we work on hypothesis. 1 week we work on background. 1 week we work on, experiment one. So we take it week by week, and then there's some time at the end to polish it, put it together. And then you also have to give a 20-minute talk that to your fellow students and the faculty based on that. The students do fine. We don't have a lot going in that quarter. So and we work towards it. So does that give a better idea of what it is? It's not some big scary thing. It's it sounds like it. The missions is rolling. Can you explain? Yeah, so we are accepting people all the time. So whenever, we have a deadline, but anytime you're ready, put your application in, and we review them as they come in. And so, we have accepted people already. So as soon as we get everything is complete, we will review it and we'll let you know. So that's what we mean by rolling. It's not like, oh, you have to, everybody waits and then we all give you one date when we tell you as soon as we know. The TOEFL exam, if I'm now a US citizen. What do you say on that, Dana?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, so it's not so much about what being a citizen, I guess. So so if you are, if you are an international student, and you don't have any degrees in the US, then you do have to provide the TOEFL scores. Or IELTS, either one. We'll look at, we'll accept either one. If you have an undergraduate degree or a master's degree from a school in the United States or from a school that teaches solely in English, even if that's not in the United States, you don't have to provide those scores.
Yeah, the intent is to make sure that you are well versed enough in English that you're going to be successful in taking courses. So if you've taken courses in English, then that is a way to demonstrate that. If not, then it's the exam. And again, that comes from the university. That's not our requirement. If you wanted to take the first year and postpone the second year for later, is it possible? Yeah, anything is possible. The best way to do it would be if maybe you took like we have had for various reasons, sometimes students have taken a year off, they've taken a leave of absence. So they're not really out of the program, but they're on a leave of absence for a year and then they come back. I don't know if you take off a long period of time, if you would have to reapply. We've never really had that situation. Again, each course is set up to build on the ones behind it, and the cohesiveness of the cohort has been, really helpful. So it's not something I would recommend, but we understand people have issues. If there's some issue, we can discuss it. The best thing I would think is if you needed to take a short-term break. So we have had students that needed to take a leave for a quarter or a year. We had a student, her mother passed away and she wanted to take a year off before she came back. And, that worked out fine. She came back, no problem. So there's some ways we can do it. I'm not really sure what you're thinking and why you would want to take off a big chunk of time if there's a particular reason. How can we apply for the need-based scholarship? So once you get accepted and you have accepted us, then Dana sends out a kind of informational letter, and in it tells you what to do. Basically, you just write a little paragraph, whatever, telling us why you think that you could really need that, extra money, how that could really be beneficial to you. I mean, of course, everybody can always use extra money, but we don't have a huge pot of money, but we try to parcel it out to try to help everybody if we can. So at that point, you would submit this request, and then we usually, I think, we would decide in June after we get everybody. So we see how many people are asking and how much money we have, and then we try to kind of make it stretch as far as we can, so we can help. So it's not a big application form or anything, but you need to, again, communicate to us why you think that this is really something for you. Yeah, okay. Okay, so back to the TOEFL. My course was completely taught in English. Would I be exempt? I would think so, but if also you could send your like an informal transcript to Dana, and she's the one that goes up to the administration and negotiates with them. So I would suggest that you send her an informal transcript, and she can check that out ahead of time, and maybe because you've been taught in English, you won't need to take it.
It's the way that it works, and this is again from the graduate division, it's their policy. But so if the institution that you went to teaches in English, and they have to be part of something called the World Higher Education, I'm forgetting the last word, but it's basically they have to be kind of officially recognized as teaching in English for the particular degree that you got. So just to kind of give you a sense, but I would be very happy to take a look at it and see what we can do.
Yeah, well, let's look at it before you go off and take the exam, because it sounds like maybe you won't have to take it. So, but Dana can find out, and then you'll know either grad division will accept it or not. I mean, those are things that are beyond our control. So, those are university requirements. So, any other questions?
I just want to say, so Fariha, so I think you applied to our program, because I remember like we have accepted Fariha Karim, and I think she's attending. Is it you or there are two Fariha Karim? Because I just like checked that. I remember like I saw your name, but maybe she doesn't hear me now.
Have you submitted your application?
I
Yes.
remember Fariha Karim also.
I do
think,
too.
yeah.
Yes, I do too.
So is that it's in the works right now, Dana?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which
No, I
list
think I think she also completed her
SIR. I believe that too. I believe that's right.
I think she's attending. She's coming.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
Just,
Oh, good
you know.
question. Do any of the courses in the MS transfer over to a PharmD program? The reason that I'm hesitating is that I'm not sure I can say. We in the MS program feel that our courses are definitely transferable, but the PhD program hasn't settled on it yet. Amal, it's been kind of not that set in stone. So I don't want to promise something that isn't going to be.
But also, I think the question is about the PharmD program.
Oh, the PharmD.
Really, yeah.
PhD.
No, they don't transfer because they are different. Yeah.
Yeah, the PharmD is a very prescribed, accredited program that follows. But I mean, if you had your master's, I think you would find that a lot of the basic courses in the PharmD program would be a lot easier after having that background. And we have had students go to the PharmD program, but yeah, no, they won't transfer. I'm sorry, I was thinking of PhD. And some of that maybe can transfer, I'm not sure. We have had students go on into our PhD program here as well, so. But if you have any questions, after we get off and you think, oh, I should have asked that, or now this pops in my head, just send an email to one of us or any of us, and you stay in touch and let us help you figure out if this will work for you. Any other things before we go? It's been great, and I appreciate all your input and feedback and questions. That's great. So if you're at all interested, I urge you to apply. We have a lot of fun in this program. At least I think we do.
Yes, me too.
We have always a really good group of students. They're fun to work with, and they're all motivated, and it's not like a bunch of freshmen. It's like very, very mature and interesting people. So it
And
makes
indeed, the only time that we see all the students is the graduation, and it will be next month. So yes, so students come from different places to attend the graduation. So
yeah, we're
we are
having
very excited to
some-
see. Yeah.
we have a little reception right before, and I mean, of course, not everybody can come, but we've had a lot of people come and bring their family, whatever, and it's like, I know you, but I've never met you. It was fun. All right, well, thank you so much for attending, and have a good rest